Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing? Welcome to Saturday Production Facts, Episode 9. What a journey it's been.
Wow.
How are we doing this week, Barry? How are things? Everything all right?
Yeah, doing alright. What about yourself? You surviving?
Just about. No, I'm doing very well. I'm about to move to Edinburgh tomorrow. My things, nothing is packed. I'm getting a bus from Killarney at 4:30 to the airport in the morning. 4:30 in the morning. But you know what? I'm good to go. I'm ready to go. And I'm very excited. But enough about me. Let's get into my music.
Wonderful.
Right, so this week we're going to be talking about Too Far From Kind once again. Okay, we kind of brushed on it a little bit last week, but we're gonna dissect a specific section. There's a lot going on in between the pre-chorus and the first chorus, and there's a couple of moments in that I wanted to highlight, and
Sure.
We'll see where we go from there because there's lots going on in this song in general. So I suppose, will we just jump in straight at the very, very beginning, the transition from the verse into the pre-chorus? I thought it was an organ sound. Barry has informed me that it's actually a brass swell. So it's a very, is the word innocuous appropriate? Perhaps not, but it's hard to decipher what's actually makes up the sound.
Yeah, it's
So
because
maybe
it's
you
not
could
just
explain.
one. It's not just one sound. It's layered, like as always. Yes, exactly. And the reason I can understand why you thought it was an organ, because there is also an organ happening there, but it's not like just an organ. The actual thing you're hearing on the top is like I think I got a brass sample and I ran it through some kind of maybe I saturated it and ran it through a bit of light distortion maybe. And played around with a few other parameters and kind of got it to sound. I mean, I think you can still, if you like listen closer, you're like, oh, cool, I get it. Like, I think it's the Logic library. It's like the Chicago brass, one of the like the default things that comes with it. It's nothing fancy. It's just that I was
Class.
trying to play with sounds and find something that worked, and I was like, I messed with that, and I thought it sounded good, and it made the cut. So yeah, I mean, I suppose
Class.
I'll play it, and then we can kind of talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. Give it a blast.
It's too long. Now our faith is all gone. Don't judge my fear.
So yeah,
That's
that
nice,
kind of.
I describe it as like in a movie when the train is coming and they're trying to get you to get off the tracks. Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like it's a little bit of a wake up moment. Now we're transitioning into the pre-chorus.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think this is kind of something that slightly comes up every time, is that kind of like sound design aspect that I kind of just bring into stuff when I'm producing songs. It's like, the kind of whole soundtrack of
Exactly.
just kind of approaching it from different angles and being like, yeah, how do we kind of make these features, whether it's ripping off the THX thing or
Yes.
or waking people up with at what sounds like maybe a train.
Well, you're very good at it, to be fair, and you're very good at like you say, you just got like a default patch sound, and you were able to morph it into what you wanted, which I do think is one of your greatest skills, is being able to like make things sound the way you want them to, which is something that baffles me, but also impresses me. So well done.
Years of practice, and I'm
Yes.
still not even like where I want to be.
Well, you know what? You're actively pursuing it and doing quite well, I would say. So don't be too harsh on yourself. But will we move forward now? We're getting into the pre-chorus. And actually, just one thing I wanted to flag, because I really liked it, was the muted like electric guitars in that pre-chorus as well. It's funny, like slight tangent here, but I remember when we were putting together Nothing Sweeter, there was like a song that I flagged as a reference, which was Take Me Dancing by Joseph something. He's got a triple barrel name. I really should have looked it up, but this is what happens when you go on tangents. You don't always have the reference ready. But Will Joseph, no, something. Anyway, it was exactly that sound, and I realized that you'd already captured it already in a song from 2 years ago. But I'm really a fan of that kind of percussive, almost it's not quite an African thing, but it's kind of like, I suppose Vampire Weekend kind of use it a lot as well, like that muted thing. It provides a lot of momentum. It can be very happy as well, it's just a cool sound. I wanted to flag it from the start.
Cool. Yeah.
Tangent over.
It's that kind of staccato kind of muted thing. It's basically kind of like, it's quite jumpy, I suppose, in a way.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
like
exactly.
jump scare fright, but you know what I mean. Like it's kind of makes you kind of bop around a bit.
Exactly. It just agitates the whole thing, but it's like in a good way. Do you know what I mean? You get an itch.
Well, yeah, I think the point of that, like that guitar line, was momentum. We were looking for something to kind of keep it tipping over until we hit the chorus.
Yeah, exactly. Well done. That's all I wanted to say. That was great. Another thing I wanted to bring up was you had some more kind of synthy swell Rhodes lines within that pre-chorus as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I did like I'm trying to remember. I think it was maybe I really like the Wurlitzer patch on Logic, like the one that's just like stock. It's just, I think it's a great sound, and yeah, their standard Rhodes sound is cool as well. But like I sometimes blend those two things too. But yeah, there's kind of a moment in that pre-chorus where I'm just playing fairly basic chords, and then I kind of grabbed one of them and reversed it, so it like swelled into the next chord. I'll see if I can find it.
I love it.
It will soon disappear.
I literally landed on it. I'll go back a little bit and we'll fall in.
Don't judge my fear. It will soon disappear.
And you can actually hear that because of the what's the word? My God, my brain is gone blank. The depth on it was kind of up a bit, so you can hear that kind of wobble and how it's reacted to it being reversed. But I really liked that kind of like pulsing, you know.
Yeah, I'm starting to really notice that that's like one of our biggest features, and it comes up even more in the section that we're about to address. I need to calm down my hand movements. I'm gonna break my microphone. It's a lot about tension and release. That's like our whole thing, especially like production wise. It's starting to become a real like feature. I mean, I guess this is what's enjoyable about this kind of deep dive into our music, is you start to kind of notice, maybe we didn't notice before, how like we have common features and reoccurring themes and reoccurring tricks and whatever else that we try to implement all the time. It's quite interesting.
I did notice, but I love you.
Yeah. Just took me a while to catch on, but now I'm on to you. I know what you're up to, lad. So you better get some new tricks. No, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But what I wanted to talk about next, the disappear backing vocals. Do you know what I'm talking about here?
I do, yeah.
Yes. Which I quite love, I must say. And it's again, it's
Very
building that
simple,
atmosphere,
but
isn't it?
Effective repetition, eh? Oh, shit.
I've lost you. God damn it.
And we're back. Sorry.
And we're
dropped.
back. Sorry, yes, go ahead. The disappear backing vocals. Maybe you could give that a wee blast for us, as opposed to me badly explaining it.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
It will soon disappear. I won't fear.
Yeah. So it's just that it's basic and simple repetition.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
And it kind of, it's a common like trope as well. Is like if you have this space that you want to fill, sometimes you might take the actual vocal and cut that part and bring it down and delay it or whatever. But it was just instead we went, I'll just we'll have a call response moment.
Yeah.
Uh,
little bit of word painting as well, because it was sort of like, as I say, disappear.
I
we
love
disappear
like
off,
you're just bringing
fade
back
into-
leave insert music all the time. That word painting.
This is where I learned my vocabulary for music, is in Miss Whelan's music class in the ISK Kilorglan. Shout out, big up. But But that's what it's about, right? It's kind of, again, creating that vacuum airlock and then suck into the chorus. So you actually added in an extra beat there, am I right?
Yeah.
That was definitely your idea.
Yes.
I'll give you credit.
I love that. It was definitely yours. Yeah, we did. I just felt like the bar of 4 didn't give it enough time to kind of
Yeah.
land and breathe and, kind of just... Because there's a lot of stuff going on there when you listen, and you just need to give it a moment to settle before the chorus hits you.
Yeah.
So, like, adding in that extra beat gave it a second, and then at the same time as adding in an extra beat, I played some kind of slide guitar. So you have that, like, and it just all kind of falls together and hits. So I'm going to bring us back again a little bit further, and we'll see how that kind of development works us into the chorus.
Judge my fear, it will soon disappear. I won't feel it if you won't.
So, just giving that extra beat or two, just gives that kind of moment to kind of, get us in there.
Yeah.
And it's once again, I'm not like reinventing the wheel or anything. This is something that's been used tons, but like it just shows that it works,
No, absolutely. And I suppose the thing that I noticed about it when we first put it in was like it's not super noticeable. It's not like disorientating or anything like that. It's actually does give it the necessary amount to breathe, and it was better than before. So that's what it's about tweaking and improving. And all of a sudden you have an interesting moment, and something notable.
Well, I think it was because it was more of a tool to help develop the story of the song as opposed to kind of trying to be technical,
Yeah.
And it just kind of worked in, it's a whole different thing when you're trying to do like a tricky bar set just for the sake of it, just so you're like, oh, I'm cool, I just did a bar 7/4. And there's nothing, I love 7/4, but like, there's times for it and there's times when you don't do it. It's like, I'm not hopping songs for a minute, but it's like Loving You in Vain, the bridge, like, that's jumping between signatures, but it's so kind of seamless that you wouldn't really realize unless you counted it out,
Mm-hmm. It just felt right in terms of what I was singing against it, so it just sometimes it comes out natural. I'm not trying to be like Rush or something like that, you know what I mean?
Nothing wrong with a bit of Rush though.
Neil Peart, but
yeah.
That's funny. But you know what? If these things work, why not implement them? And why not mess around? And when you mess around, sometimes you get really fun and interesting things. And that's what we got. But moving into the chorus, I wanted to flag again your guitar work and the lead guitar line, because I feel like it's one of these, and actually what it was you were buying into the jig rhythm, and so it's nearly actually like an A part of a jig, or the first 2 bars of a jig or something like that. So maybe you'd like to play a little bit of that and we can kind of discuss it and discuss its role within the chorus.
Sure thing.
Thank you.
If you won't see it, don't ignore what's on your mind. Don't release, you're too far from kind. There she was.
Just missed the pause button a few times here. That's
good.
But yeah, it's kind of just bouncing around with the rest of the chorus, and it's kind of like, I don't want to use that word, but it's vibing off your vocal, man.
But it is
yeah,
it's like a counter melody thing, but yet they're kind of totally separate, and then it breathes when I'm not singing as well. It gives it that they're interacting, but then it gives it that space to breathe afterwards. There's a certain level of vibing for sure. I noticed as well, like when we were listening back, we're both just like doing this.
Well, that's the effect you want. That like
yeah,
yeah.
We're like 2 pendulums on a desk here, going back and forth.
Wait till we're doing the live gigs. That's just all it's gonna be. The sound engineer will fucking hate you.
Yeah, but no rehearsals as well, like music. We're not going to practice the music. We just practice this.
Just nailing it.
Set the click track and go for it. But yes, I love it because it's really hooky, but yet non-intrusive, and I think that's something that if you are a guitar player out there, that maybe you try and take on board, is to create something interesting, but yet to stay out of the goddamn way. All right.
Yeah.
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 Would you agree?
Oh, completely. There's tons of songs that you hear where like people are just headbutting with each other because they want the moment, but you just need to know when to pass the ball.
Yeah.
Or when to support, and all these kind of things. So.
Yeah. I actually, what's funny was another slight tangent, but we're nearly towards the end now anyway, because we've just gone on a couple of these tangents. But I remember recording the vocals for this because I can actually I can hear where I was in my head when I was recording it, because I sound a little bit nasally, but it actually suits the vocal for some reason. It's just I was talking to my buddy Ollie Thompson during the week. Shout out. And he was saying kind of about my vocal, which I hadn't really noticed because nobody really has ever described my vocal in any technical sense before. But he was like, it sounds really metallic when I get up, and actually it kind of, that was something that really resonated with me, which sounded like, I think the chorus for Too Far From Kind kind of is probably a good example of that, But the point I'm trying to make is, sometimes if your vocal is maybe not in tip-top condition because you're jet lagged and you've just flown from America to Ireland to Scotland to record some vocals, sometimes it works in your favor because you end up getting the sound that actually is appropriate for the song. So don't always feel bad about not being in tip-top vocal condition. Just make sure you record a song where that sounds appropriate.
And also make sure that if that is the case, that you're giving your voice regular breaks and you're looking after it and keeping hydrated.
Yes, always keep hydrated. I think
I got to you on an annoying extent, during it being just making sure you weren't drinking coffee, and I wouldn't let you drink coffee, or I'd make sure you'd have decaf. I was like, drink water.
Reckless. I'm actually, this is something you should all know, that I'm not allowed to drink coffee on vocal days. I'm allowed one in the mornings, isn't it? And then, but that's it. But I am a coffee fiend, so this is I'm really suffering from my art. I want you to all know that.
Well, yeah, because you drink so much coffee every day, so that's why I'm on the day of recording, because I know that when you have your coffee in the morning, it'll probably be 2 or 3 hours out from actually recording. So I'm right now, drink tons of water.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to deal with your mouth noise.
No, actually, that is. We actually were planning on doing an episode on. I'm definitely not a vocal teacher, but we were planning on doing an episode on interaction between producer and singer when you're doing a vocal session, because I think it's a very interesting dynamic, the one that we have anyway, and it's one that I think works really well for us, but also could work really well for other people. But nobody else. What am I trying to say here?
Well, it's always. I think it's useful to get both perspectives as well, from the recordist and the vocalist, of kind of things to keep an eye on, and just a few different approaches that generally work for a lot of people. Some of the stuff we're going to say is kind of our personal take on it, but it's kind of a common practice. Yeah, and well, exactly. I hope it is, because it works really well for us anyway. And it always makes me feel good and comfortable about recording vocals. But yes, on subject of water, I do drink a lot of water, as we all know. And my hand, this is actually a big bottle. My hands are quite small, but this is a big bottle. Right, I think we've covered a lot. We've done plenty. And I suppose that concludes episode 9, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you for watching. I suppose this could be the penultimate episode of season 1 of Saturday Production Facts. And we've got some huge plans, which we can't tell you about yet. We've been picked up by a major network. No, I don't. Nobody's paying us to do this. But yes. Next week is going to be episode 10, and I think we are actually quite possibly going to be in the same room together to record it, because I'm flying to Scotland tomorrow.
No. Yes, tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next time you see us, it will be together, and we will finish off the series in a very strong way. So excellent, Barry. Thank you for joining me again.
No hassle. Thank you for
I do
having me.
appreciate it. My pleasure. My greatest pleasure. And that concludes episode 9. Perhaps, Barry, you could play us out with a little bit of Too Far From Kind. Perhaps from, you know what? Dealer's choice. Play it from wherever you like, my friend.
Behind, see us way down the line. No ifs, nor buts. When it all got too rough.
See you next week, folks.
So it goes, it's all this time. Stories told, words wrapped in